All right, good evening. Welcome to Mapleton City Council meeting today on Wednesday, March 6, 2024. We'll begin with an invocation by Councilmember Jones and led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Egbert.
Our Heavenly Father, we come before Thee at the beginning of this City Council meeting, grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy living in this country. We're grateful for the community that we live in and the goodwill that is shared amongst neighbors. We pray that we will be mindful of doing and making those decisions that are in the best interest of the city as a whole. We are grateful for all of our many blessings, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Reed Carlson is not present with us this evening, but may be joining us by phone. All of the council members are present. We'll begin with a presentation from Wendy from Tabitha's Way. If you'd like to come up and address us, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Again, I want to express my appreciation for the work that you all do. I'm so grateful each time I come to a city council meeting. I think, bless your hearts. so thankful for the work that you do. Just real quickly, just wanted to report back what our numbers were for last year, and also just invite the city and the community here to be involved with the upcoming Feed Utah food drives. So last year, the Spanish Fork Pantry alone served over 62,000 individuals, 16,875 households. Now that's drawing from obviously a large pool from Santaquin, some from Provo, Springville and so forth, but in general, that's the total area. In addition to that, combined all of our locations, we recently opened up a third location in Saratoga Springs. Between all of our locations, our organization served over 154,000 individuals last year. That's nearly doubling the amount of people we've served in less than 2 years. So there's a lot of need. You're
Wow.
Okay.
That's just in the state of Utah?
Utah County, the
That's
three
just
locations.
Utah County.
And what do you expect for 2024? Something similar?
Yep.
Yes, unfortunately, we're seeing just, again, significant growth. Part of that is, a large portion of that is population. We're also seeing a lot of refugees currently coming in. And then inflation, I know they're saying inflation's cooling, but my prices for groceries haven't gone down. So I don't know
Yeah, I
about
don't know where
y'all.
those people are shopping, but I feel
I
the
don't
same
know
way.
where it's cooled at. It's apparently not here. So that's just a few things. So now upcoming on Saturday, March 16th is a statewide food drive called Feed Utah. And we're encouraging local citizens to drop off their donations at one of our 3 location sites. We have, of course, at Tabitha's Way in Spanish Fork. We'll also be at the Spanish Fork Macy's and the Santaquin Macy's. And so we are very low on food. We saw, like I said, almost a 61% increase this year, and our goal is to raise over 100,000 pounds in food is our hopes for this year, just knowing how many people are coming and just how great the need is. Our shelf-stable warehouse has approximately 30, if we're lucky, 60 days worth of food left in it. And usually what we do is the statewide food drive usually helps us get our bump just before summer, so we can kind of get through at least the beginning portion of the summer months. And so we are really just in need for food. I know that and thank you for all those who've been participated in, ongoing food drives. There's been ongoing food drives that have been happening regularly. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of that traffic slow. We have what's called a donation shed outside of our food pantry. And it used to fill up every single day, and we're lucky now if it fills up once a week.
Wow.
And again, I think it has to do with inflation and people struggling. I personally have had no less than 5 individuals who've donated to our organization come to me and say, Wendy, I can no longer donate. In fact, I need help. So I understand that it's hard for a lot of people. So our ask is, I guess I should frame it this way, our ask is for those who can and would like to, please donate food, because we need a lot of food.
Wow.
How much help do you get from the cart that I see at Macy's every time I leave? and think, dang it, I wish I would have seen that coming in.
So,
Is that,
yeah, so we pick up from Macy's several times during the week, and so those fill up. So the
do
one
they?
at the front of the store is for customers to purchase items and just drop off there.
yeah.
And then Macy's also donates some of their foods, their goods that they're pulling from their shelves as well.
As a side note, like I said, I leave and I see it and I think, oh,
Oh,
I
maybe
didn't
we need
think
to
about
turn the
that.
cart
So
around the
to
other
put the
way.
cart around as I'm, or put a sign up as, I don't know if I'm the only one, it could be,
Cart
but
before the horse.
But the-
Leslie, is that what you're trying to do?
it's the cart.
Well, thank you for that
I mean, as I'm
suggestion.
coming in, because I come in for a small list of things, if I come in and it's on my mind, I'll pick up a few extra things. So it's just some feedback.
Great. No,
I may or
thank
may
you.
not be the only one, but it's just some
No,
feedback.
thank you, that's important.
Yeah.
So all the help we can get, so please, thank you for sharing. Yeah, I'll give Bill a call and say, hey, can you turn that card around? He's really great to help us out, so thank you for that feedback. If anybody wants to volunteer, you can search Feed Utah Food Drive on Just Serve, and we do have volunteer spots that are available at the different locations. But the drive will be on Saturday, March 16th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the drop-off times. So, again, we're grateful for the support of the community, but we are really hoping to see a big push on the 16th.
Is this the same as this Utah Food Bank?
Yeah, so the
But
Utah
it is
Food
the same.
Bank, yeah, so so the Utah Food Bank helps kind of coordinate it, so it's a
Oh, okay.
statewide food drive.
Gotcha.
So if, the difference is, so we are partners with Utah Food Bank, they're a great organization. But if we're wanting to make sure that those food donations stay local, you
Gotcha.
can drop off one of our 3 locations. Utah Food Bank, I'm sure some will stay local, but I don't know that it might, I'm not sure what the plan is there with them, so.
The communication you're doing is getting through, is what I was gonna say, so.
Oh, good.
This
Okay,
got
good.
to me a week and a half ago through a different avenue, so whatever you're doing there is good.
Okay, good.
Seems to
good,
be getting to the end of the road.
Good, yeah, so
Now,
we're.
with the Utah Food Bank, I know often they will advocate for cash donations because they can stretch that dollar way further than a consumer can.
Mhm.
Does that work the same with your organization? I mean,
Yes,
because
yeah.
it's all under the same 501c3, I would imagine, right?
Well, Utah Food Bank is a separate 501c3. They are, so both of us are in the industry for fighting for food security, but we are separate 501c3 organizations, and donations are separate. So on those flyers that are going out, the QR codes go to the Utah Food Bank and then are dispersed across the state. With us, our cost per meal is 20 cents per meal. So for $1, you can't get that at McDonald's. So if we could
You can
provide.
stretch the dollar too.
Yes, we
Great.
can. So our cost to provide a nutritious meal to a family is at 20 cents per meal.
Great.
So, so we, you'll see on our social media and of course on our website, people are welcome to come in and donate. You can donate through our website as well
Okay.
for cash donations. So if you aren't able to, or if you, aren't able to go to the grocery store or something, or don't want to do the drop-off, or if you want to donate financially, they can go to our website, tabithasway.org, and just click, Spanish Fork Pantry or South Pantry,
Mhm.
and donate that way.
Great,
So-
thank you.
So, thank you.
Great.
Any other questions? All right, we'll carry on.
Okay,
Fight the
thanks.
good fight. Thank you all so
Thanks,
much.
Wendy.
God
Appreciate
bless.
it.
For all you
Take
do.
care. Bye-bye.
All right, we will move forward with our consent agenda items now. Look for a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
A motion by Councilman Beck and a second by Councilmember Jones.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Great. Our first public hearing item number 3, is consideration of a resolution authorizing the sewer revenue obligation Series 2024 obligations in the maximum principal amount of $5.6 million to acquire and construct part of the issuer's portion of the sewer treatment facilities and related matter, appointing a pricing committee, and authorizing all other actions necessary for the transactions contemplated herein and related matters. Corey, you taking it?
Yep,
All
I'll
right, Corey,
take
go ahead.
replacing Bryce tonight. So, Mayor and Council, as you recall back in our February 7th City Council meeting, we discussed the additional funds for this project, and we had to set a public hearing date for tonight. As you recall, the Mapleton City's additional cost will be $5,600,000. That'll be for the remaining completion of the shared sewer plant. We're recommending borrowing that money by a form of a note with Spanish Fork, and that's how we did our first bond with them as well. The public hearing tonight gives the public the opportunity to speak on this matter. Just the history of this particular project. As you all are aware, the original bond was for $83,153,692. Mapleton's share of that was going to be $18 million. The bond was sold back in August of 2020. The reason we went out to bond at that time was rates were low, and we felt, as we talked with our consultants, that the timing was right. Since that time, construction costs, as we all are aware of, went up. The cost of the entire plant's $137 million now, close to $138 million. Our portion will be $27,580,000. With that said, we've been able to go out and get a number of grants, $1.1 million grants to help cover for that, and that's why our costs now come in for that remaining, or for this proposal tonight is at 5.506. A couple other things just to note with it. In March of 2020, we spent a lot of time in newsletters, the State of the City address that the mayor presented. We talked about this project and what was taking place and why we had to do that. We discussed the aspects of as far as those costs and how we would start. There would be a cost involved of $10 per year increase. Our target rate at that time was approximately $66 once everything was completed. With that said, we're happy to be able to say that we feel that that's still going to be the same amount. So that's good news for us. With that said, we also have one more year of rate increases, and that'll be in June, where we'll come before you to ask for that final remaining increase, at least for at this time. And our current rate's $56.14 for a single-family home. Obviously, this one coming up will add another $10 to that to get us to that approximately that $66. The project is about 50% complete at this time, and we anticipate completion date being May of 2025, so it's coming. Over the years, I'll have residents ask a couple of questions. I just go over a few of them with you. Why don't we have our own sewer plant has been a question asked from time to time. Obviously, well before all of our time, we entered into an agreement with Spanish Fork, and we share that facility with them. I've always been told that there's only a couple properties that actually could have even worked here in Mapleton if they were to do their own plant. I think as you look at it now, we're grateful that we're having an interlocal where we can share this with another city, especially as we continue to see some of the standards and requirements that come about through the Division of Water Quality and the Environmental Protection Agency. Another question I'll get asked from time to time is, do we have an opportunity to be a voice at the table with Spanish Fork? And I want to let everyone know, yes, we do. I appreciate Spanish Fork's efforts. Myself and Rob are on conversations with them all the time. We were involved with the bid process. Mayor was involved with that at that time as well. And so, yeah, we do get a voice at the table, and that's been appreciated with that said. And then the last one is why are we building a new facility, or why are we going through this process? And every city's experiencing this, or I shouldn't say every, majority of cities are experiencing the same challenge right now. And then again, that's the State Division of Water Quality and the Environmental Protection Agency. They've put some standards out there that all cities need to now come into compliance with, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So, Rob, anything else you want to add to that?
So everything that you said is absolutely correct. Part of the new facility too is the increasing the capacity, based off of what our projected populations between the two cities are going to be too. So it's a combination of both. Right? We needed to do something for the EPA. We needed to do something about our population growth, and this takes care of both. So.
Okay, thanks, Rob and Corey. Appreciate it. This being a public hearing item, we will now open it for public comment. If you would like to come forward and state your name and talk about sewer, you're welcome to. Seeing there are none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Council, any other questions? I know there was a big informational after last meeting. There was a lot of questions put together and answers that were sent out. I'm sure you got those. So hopefully that got all the questions answered.
That was a very good job of answering the questions.
Thanks, Reed. You typing a motion?
I make a motion to approve this resolution to authorize the sewer revenue obligation series 2024 in the maximum principal amount of $5,600,000 to acquire and construct part of the issuer's portion of the sewer treatment facilities and related matters, appointing a pricing committee, authorizing all other actions necessary for the transactions contemplated herein, and all related matters.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilman Garrett.
I'll take it again. Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson, yes.
All right, item number 4, consideration of an ordinance amending Mapleton City Code Section 18.90 regarding landscaping and buffering requirements in commercial and residential zones. Mr. Conroy.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So recently we had an application go before the Planning Commission and some neighbors were concerned. It was a commercial application. Some neighbors were concerned about potential noise impacts, and the applicant offered to construct a higher fence than what our current standards are to mitigate those concerns. And so after that, the Planning Commission and the neighbors who were concerned expressed interest in amending the code to make sure that that is a standard, that if there are potentially noise generating uses, that we could have a taller buffer between the commercial and the residential properties. And so that's primarily why we have this ordinance. As we were amending it, we went through, because it's in the landscape and buffering section, and made some changes to address other issues that come up. For example, the recent change in state code no longer allows us to require a bond for front yard landscaping. So we've amended the code to ensure that we're consistent with state standards. And we've eliminated some either redundant or difficult to enforce standards. Happy to go through any in detail if you have any specific questions.
I was going to ask, what are some reasons to not require 8 feet for all use, in all situations, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's something the council could consider. I think for a lot of uses, like a business use that's an office space, where there's really no impact, 6 feet may be an excessive requirement. But that's something, if the council would prefer that as a standard, that's something you certainly could discuss.
Oh, why, so right now it's set at 6 feet, with the option to go to 8 feet depending on noise impacts. And so why not requiring it to always be 8 feet?
One of the things that, if talking about the ordinance, you'll probably start to look closer at some of these walls, like around Holiday and some other ones. It doesn't look great to have cinder block walls. It starts to look like a prison. So I think Sean's right on where if there could be a certain impact or potential for an impact, then it's smart to have it. Otherwise, 6 feet is sufficient, so it doesn't look like cinder block walls up and down Highway 89. or in other areas.
What is the recommended standard on evaluating that impact from project to project, right? It's a matter of opinion. I think this, I may feel like a project is going to be noisier than Casey might.
Yeah.
What is a standard unit of measurement?
What we typically will do is use a decibel level reader and anticipate what that decibel reading is going to be at the property line. Typically, anything over 65 or so would be considered higher than a typical use. We didn't write a specific decibel amount into the ordinance, but that's the way.
But that would be the standard that a council would use
Right.
for each individual project.
Mhm.
Well, it's not the council, it's the planning commission, right?
Planning
That would
commission.
make that. So for just general parking, that wouldn't necessarily sway one way or the other on noise impacts?
No, it'd be primarily the use.
The use of the business.
That's being generated, yeah.
This is a public hearing item, so we'll open the meeting for public comment. If you want to speak to this item, come forward.
I think it should be a standard 8 feet. And, I would just ask all of you, if your property butted to a residential and commercial, would you not want that 8-foot buffer?
I don't know, I think it's a personal opinion. I like the 6 feet personally, but some people might like the 8. And I think that could be dealt with too, like if a concern is from a residence that's neighboring the property and having a concern, I think that's certainly something you'd want to bring to the staff's attention so that they could consider that, you know, and have that be the case. I've seen the difference between 6 feet and 8 feet is quite a bit. So it starts to look like concrete walls all over. So I think if you could mitigate that to some extent. And there's other ways to do it, right? Put the use further away.
Yeah.
Maybe have some parking or something, whatever the use, or landscape buffering in addition, or.
Well, can we standardize what it looks like? Because I agree, you don't want an ugly Bigfoot cinder block wall.
Yes, do we have something in there right now that standardizes
Not on material specifically.
material specific?
I think
I
that
thi- I
should be
think,
a
I think that's a
consideration.
valid conversation to have, because to your point, I mean, I'm sensitive to, you must back up to a project, right?
Maverick and
Maverick,
Quick
okay.
Quack, yeah.
Right, and I do agree with seeing some of these taller walls around. I'm not comfortable making it a standard requirement because it doesn't fit every single scenario. But I think your concern is valid. You don't, you,
If you lived
It's a-
where
it's
I
a-
lived, would you not want an 8-foot barrier?
well,
Let's put it that
not
way.
necessarily, because I know the impact of 8 feet on a cinder block wall or a concrete wall, but I'm sensitive to, you want it to look right and be effective to buffer noise. So not necessarily, I'm gonna say I would want an 8-foot. There's conditions on that, so.
How close to Maverick are you?
I'm right behind it.
Do you feel like that would be a benefit to you, that the use is now there, that 8 foot would be better
Yes, I would say the biggest pollution is noise pollution.
from Maverick?
Yeah,
So one thing the ordinance does say is that if one use, like you're in an area like this, where one use has put up an 8-foot fence, if a neighbor comes in, a neighboring business, they would extend that, so that it was, so you didn't have a,
Right.
up and
Yeah.
down.
So in this
So-
scenario, the piece behind Maverick is a separate parcel, right?
Correct.
So if a use
correct.
gets proposed there, we could
It would follow that
make it
standard.
consistent 8 feet.
Mhm.
Because the 8 feet's already been determined in
Correct.
the other section.
Yeah.
What type of businesses would generally fall in that noise impact where 8 feet would probably be required?
You're looking at certainly car washes and gas stations and auto repair, those types of uses. Yeah, I think we included in the ordinance examples of anything that's receiving consistent deliveries of large trucks. Those types of uses would fall under that. Yeah, I think that the primary ones that won't are low-scale office-type uses. There could be retail uses that really aren't generating any significant noise outside of, pretty standard, pretty standard operations.
yeah, I would say like the doctor's office next to Maverick, not a problem, right? But when there's things going on all the time, like a car wash, a gas station,
But it could
Those-
help. If it did, and like you're saying, if it's 8 feet in one section, you just continue the 8 feet
right?
and make it consistent.
And in this specific location, and I apologize, I was having a sidebar with the mayor. Sorry, Sean.
No, you're good.
But he was pointing out with the current proposal with the car wash, it is already at 8 feet. And that
Yeah.
would be consistent as those other parcels are developed.
Yeah.
And this speaks to your specific concern, I believe, that it's already committed to doing 8 feet there.
Correct.
So with that piece of, with that information, with that specific project, I mean, that's already established,
Well, yeah,
correct?
in this scenario, but he's just saying that, shouldn't we make it consistent, be 8 feet everywhere?
Right, understand that
his-
from an
With the
ordinance
right
standpoint.
materials
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
in
mean,
his scenario, it's already gonna be.
It's already
that.
done.
Yeah.
Were
but
you
it-
aware of that?
of the Quick Quack, I wasn't 100%. But
Okay.
again, most of our property is behind
Maverick.
Maverick.
Right, but
So-
with that, it would have to be consistent along the way.
Right, and that's what, my concern is, you don't want to put an 8-foot fence, and then you come down to a 6-foot
Right.
fence, that almost looks worse.
absolutely.
as well, so.
Where the Maverick is that 6 feet or 8 feet?
So Maverick, there's a lot in between, so
Oh.
there wasn't a wall for Maverick because it doesn't own the residential property line.
That building
So
has
when
to go
that,
8.
when that piece goes in, it'll install that.
So you'll get the 8. I kind of have the same, oh wait, we're still in public hearing, I can wait
Yeah,
to talk.
Is it confirmed 8 foot between that Maverick and our property?
So
Or
the
just a quick?
Mavericks proposed it, so according to this ordinance, yes, it says that if an existing 8-foot wall already exists on an adjacent parcel, that a property would be required to continue it.
So you, with your specific part, you'll have an 8-foot fence behind you when that parcel is developed
Okay,
because of what is currently on the table now.
and want to confirm, the quick quack is 8 feet.
It is, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the materials is a good discussion. We ought to have that discussion.
Yeah, I don't think there wasn't a specific requirement on what the quick quack was going to build, it was just going to be at 8 feet.
Would that possibly fall under the commercial design standards document that we already have? Maybe,
That's highway
It doesn't,
nine,
it
but-
doesn't address it, so we'd have to.
that's what I mean, would that be a better document to put that materials and design standard of the wall be in
You
that
could.
document?
Mhm.
And that would force any future development of a commercial development to
Yeah.
have to consider the materials because of the design standards.
Yeah, I think the issue is, like on a situation like this, it makes a lot of sense, but there's other situations where you may have one commercial building and it's like Canyon View Medical or it's something smaller. To have an 8-foot fence or a wall may be excessive. That's the why we had it the way we did, but.
Okay, so if you'll add the materials discussion to that ordinance, we can review that at a future date and add that to that.
We can do that or add it into this.
Or add it tonight in this one.
Yeah. Mhm.
If we're prepared to do that. Okay.
Are- yeah, are
Did
we
you have
prep-
any
oh,
other?
yeah.
No, thank
That'll
you
do
for your
it.
time and consideration.
Look at that smile.
Did we get,
Can you give us your name?
Kevin White.
And this is not a real time-sensitive item. If you want to continue it and have us bring something back on the design of or the materials, we can do that too.
Okay.
Just so you know, anybody that comes up to the mic, we need your name stated for the record on the recording. Thank you.
Awesome, it's Cami Hess, Hess. CAMI. Yeah. I just wanted to second what Kevin said. We appreciate this amendment even being considered, and we are thankful for Ryan Orr's work on getting it pushed through. The 8-foot fence would make a really big difference in our quality of life, just because already the Maverick is excessively loud at times, and we don't feel like the noise ordinances have been taken seriously. The dumpster's taken out constantly at 4 a.m. in the morning. It's very, very loud. It's just not really enforced. So the 8-foot fence would really help us just mitigate kind of concerns there. So I just wanted to second what Kevin said.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks, Cammie.
I think
The-
was it in a public meeting or with the meeting with Ryan where that was mentioned with the dumpster? And I think
It was
somebody
another meeting.
up-
yeah.
was going to make a phone call.
We were
Talked to
notifying.
Maverick on it several times.
Oh, you have
Do you know
talked
if
to Maverick,
lately,
okay.
like the last couple months, has you noticed the dumpsters? Only one time, so they're minimizing it. It's gotten better.
But they're still
info.
doing it.
Okay, good info.
Like, do you have any suggestions on what we can do as
Yeah,
citizens?
please send an email to Sean or Corey. Just just say, just raise your hand somehow and say, hey, this happened again, so we're aware. That would, because if you don't tell us, then
Then we don't
we're
know.
assuming they're not.
Yeah.
And we don't
okay.
want you dealing with it, so.
Okay. We shouldn't call Maverick or to complain to them, just go directly?
You're probably wasting your time there. You're
Okay.
better off letting us know, because Sean's got a direct communication with someone there. He can fire at them. And I like the fact that he's firing at them, because if you say something and he says something, then
Yeah,
we'd like to make sure we're pinging the same spot
yeah, okay.
to
Plus-
actually get something
Plus,
done.
we as city staff want to know that it's not being taken care of.
Okay, that's great to know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And when there's other things, just spread the word to your neighbors. Give us a phone call. If we're not on Facebook, we don't know. Give us a call.
I've got a couple questions.
Hold on.
Oh, close
Are
your
we-
public hearing.
Done with public hearing. Okay, so that being everyone, will close the public hearing portion. Go ahead, Jessica.
So I agree with the design standards conversations. We've got the solid concrete or masonry in there, but it can be interpreted differently, right? We have some definition for those things along 89. We've required really a nicer standard. Is that something we'd consider replicating for this case?
There isn't actually an adopted standard on that. We've just worked with
Preferred?
developers to do it, but yes, we can bring something back.
Yeah, I think I'd like something aesthetic standardized there so they don't have a 8-foot cinder block wall behind the Maverick. I think that would be lovely and consistent with the nature of what we're trying to do.
Okay.
I would anticipate there's going to be some aesthetic reasons for allowing an 8-foot, and the language currently is for noise. But I think we're going to hear from people about the dumpsters are in the back. I have $1 million home that now overlooks somebody's dumpsters, whether they're noisy or not. I'd love to have a conversation about, could it be for aesthetic or noise purposes? Because to me, I would love the planning commission to have an opportunity to say, yeah, they plan to keep their ugly dumpsters in the back. Can we put the 8-foot for that and not have to justify it with noise alone? Is that an option?
What if we switched it and had the standard at 8 feet and had the commission allowed to go below that for low impact type uses? That might be a way to.
I think
I like that.
that's
Make that
great, because I didn't
easier.
want to force, I agree with Leslie on this, because, I mean, I think about some of the nature of even the land here, that I have a 6-foot fence in my home, but the person who occupies the lot behind me is 2 feet lower than my fence. So to him, my fence is an 8-foot fence.
Yeah.
So I would hate to prescribe or legislate something that maybe someone actually doesn't want an 8-foot, but I know we're going to get those requests. So if there's a way we can be really efficient and say, hey, we can handle some aesthetic. We're handling aesthetics with the appearance, but also I would say it's the same reason to address the ugly
Essentially,
dumpsters or whatever they might store back
We
there.
might be addressing it, though, if your concern is dumpsters and the dumpsters are noisy, then we can, planning commission has the ability to say, you either move your dumpster to the front or else go to 8-foot
Yeah, but
fence
there-
if the impact
But
isn't there.
oftentimes in the
they-
back of a business, there's not just dumpsters, but there's blight. There's just
Yes, Piles of
grease
stuff.
traps. There's
Uh-huh.
whatever that nobody wants to just look at when they're out at their back porch. So I agree with Jessica, and I'm open to that, making it 8 feet with the option of 6 feet.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think that does solve it. 8 with the option of 6 feet for low impact and with consideration of whatever the environment is, but I think that's not a bad idea.
Which also allows for those that favor a 6-foot, while they can argue for that, right?
Do you want to do that, or do you want him to propose something new? Do you want to try and reword it right now, or do you want to just have Sean propose it that way and have us approve it next meeting?
I think we I would like you to bring back some recommendations
On the design.
materials and so forth. I don't think we're prepared to go over that tonight. No.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be
Sounds
great.
good. You can just continue it and we'll bring it back.
Yeah, maybe some pictures.
I'll make a motion to continue this item pending the inclusion of additional items we've discussed tonight.
Second,
Motion by Councilmember Egbert and a second by Councilmember Jones.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Carlson, yes.
Okay, great. Item number 5 is consideration of a resolution approving a Mapleton City Network rate of $65 for residents 65 and older. And Bryce and I are Corey.
Mayor and council, as you recall, the end of last year, city staff went out and put together a survey, and we sent that out to all of our Mapleton City senior population. The survey focused on the amount and type of usage by residents as far as their internet. The survey concluded that the amount of bandwidth used by that population is significantly lower than our average. With that said, we then had a senior luncheon where the mayor and staff had an opportunity to go and visit with them and share with them some of the ideas that we have and answer any questions that they had for us. It actually was a very productive meeting, and appreciate the mayor's efforts and help with that as well. With that said, we're coming before you at this time recommending providing residents 65 years and older at 300 megabytes per second rate, which would include a managed Wi-Fi router for the total monthly fee of $65. With that said, since we've posted this item, I've had one person reach out. They were very appreciative of our efforts here and excited for that, but they were also hoping to consider the 1 gig with a router for $75. So I wanted to pass that on to you as well. With that said, I appreciate all of your efforts in helping us with this. And do you have any questions for me?
This is pretty,
Public hearing, do you want to start questions or? you
oh,
want-
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's
I'll
okay.
wait, I'll wait.
Thanks, Corey. This is a public hearing item also, so we'll open it for public comment.
They're not 65.
At least you guys could be excited. When you go, get 65, you get 65
day.
bucks. One day.
We're playing the long game here.
That's right. That is the question.
It's 65 or 65.
For 2 years, for sure. After that, I'm not sure.
Here's an election.
If you're not 65 in 2 years, then I can't help you.
65 for 65 for 65. 65 years.
Seeing there's no public comment, we'll close the public hearing.
Just a quick question, just to clarify, I know there has been some, it's a minor question. We had talked about, in order to qualify for that, you're 65 and older, that would need to be the account holder would need to be 65 and older. So if someone has a multi-generational home, the older person would need to be on the bill, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what we'll be looking at with that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I love it. I think this is such a great move. We've been really interested in doing this for a while, and so I'm really excited to make this happen for this population here. So great job on the work for it.
You know, I've been pseudo-promising this for a couple of years, so I'm glad to see this.
Also very happy that we're passing this. I know it's a long time coming, so very, very supportive.
It's great we have the opportunity to offer internet in Mapleton
Oh,
at a
my goodness.
discount for our beloved seniors.
Well, I'm happy to make the motion to approve the resolution approving a Mapleton City Network rate of $65 for residents 65 and older.
I'll
Second.
Jones,
All right.
yes.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilmember Egbert.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Great. Our next item is an action item, consideration of a resolution for Hanson, Allen, and Luce as the city stormwater consultant and the approval of $135,200 for the stormwater master plan. Rob?
There we go. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. So this is the Stormwater Master Plan is something that that was approved in the budget back in July. So I guess to start off, there was $150,000 that I put into the budget. This is for $135,200, so we're within that budget. The need for the Stormwater Master Plan overall is the last Stormwater Master Plan was done in 2016. That master plan was more about giving recommendations on how to do the retention requirements that we implement for new development, but it did not identify a list of projects that the city would need to do as things develop out. Some of the fields where stormwater overflow is just kind of allowed to flow into are being developed as we add curb and gutter and sidewalk to city streets, existing city streets. We're going to need to put in our own retention systems. And our experience with this last winter, record wet winter, is high groundwater and needing to explore what options we have of emergency overflow. And so we're going to be looking at all those, looking at different alternatives. As we look at different alternatives, we'll bring that back to the administration, the city council to give input on before we move forward on a final plan. But basically, we need to really identify a list of projects that need to be done over the years so that we can make sure that our stormwater rate is correct in being able to build all the facilities that the city is responsible for building. So we had $150,000. We're within that budget. We went through a selection process that follows our procurement policy for consultants. We had 4 consultant teams submit. We had a selection committee made of myself and Sean, and then Seth, who's our staff engineer, and JD, who's our stormwater collections manager. We looked through all the submittals. We selected 2 to move on to the next step of coming in and talking more about what their proposal is and making sure that we were getting the person who we felt like had most identified and had the best experience for the specific needs that we have in Mapleton. And that came out to be Henson Allen Luce. And so that's what we're proposing to do is to give them the contract for that 135-2 to do our stormwater master plan.
Thanks, Rob. Any questions on this for Rob? I know we've already discussed the whys and the budget and got that approved, but any other additional questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for Hanson Allen and Luce as the city stormwater consultant and approval of $135,200 for the stormwater master plan.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Beck and a second by Councilmember Jones.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Great. The last item is a discussion item, consideration of a discussion item to review a possible ordinance allowing flag lots within the city. So we had a meeting earlier today and had this discussion about this, and I think probably the most important thing for this is what I'd like to do is take the whole city map and identify the parcels of land that this would impact, and then have that considered along with this, because I think we could talk about this for hours and hours, and probably we're going to end up there anyway and say, show me what this affects and what parcels, before I can just say, or we could just say, yeah, you know, it's a good ordinance to take and do. And so in saving us some time and effort, I think that if we went and did that and identified it on the map, Sean, and you brought that back and said, if we did the ordinance this way, this is what it would affect, so that we know the impact, the real impact, and then we could have a better discussion.
Yeah,
That's my
we've got
opinion.
we've got
Had that
so-
conversation, so, okay.
That's one of my biggest hangups. The planning commission meeting minutes said 40 to 45 lots, but if we can identify those. I also didn't see, and maybe I missed it, but in the description, if it would require rezone, you know, there might be some people in that 40 to 45 that they would have to rezone or use a TDR if it wasn't already subdivided or platted. That, how does that impact it, right?
Yeah, and previously platted ones.
So previously platted
can't
is
apply
no.
TDRs.
But if they apply for a rezone because
It's a subdivision.
yeah,
Or-
then I just would like to know which ones could just do it immediately, which ones would require a rezone to do it.
Sure.
And if that rezone falls within our plan.
Just to make sure we're consistent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. No, it's no problem.
Because we're not, this goes to lots that were years and years ago. In the last 10 years, I'd say, we're not approving plats that create flag lots. So we've done a pretty good job, I think.
You're dealing with these kind of lots.
Yeah, it's those old
Long, skinny.
farmhouse lots, old school stuff. So we just
Right.
want to see where it impacts it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a better decision.
I'm also curious if there are any flag lots that have been able to be approved through, you know, the current regulations, the current ordinance. Because I know you can have a long driveway, but for that to be, the current ordinance says it has to be a city road, right, to have your home that deep into the property. And so,
Well, if you have frontage now, say you have 200 feet of frontage, you can have a driveway that runs clear back as far as you want. That you can do under the current ordinance.
Well, in theory, they could split the front off then and turn their own
Yeah.
into, like, I
Yeah.
could think of one that has a really long driveway that's set back. They could probably split
That's,
up front.
that's actually kind of the situation that prompted us to look at this, is there's a large property that has a house in the back and they want to subdivide, and so they're going through the design of designing a full width road, and we started asking ourselves, is this really the result that we want? We're obviously we're not trying to spur development, we're trying to say, okay, are we costing the city a lot of money in the long run?
With additional infrastructure, roads, maintenance, all that, when we don't need to. We end up
For
with the
one
same
house.
result. Either way, we just don't want to keep spending money to
I'm
maintain.
thinking of one on Main Street. Is that?
No, that's
Oh,
not the one
okay,
that
so
we
we
were
probably
talking
have,
about.
have multiples.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certainly interested in entertaining it. It's really a conversation of fiscal responsibility versus density, and somewhere there's a compromise there, so, but I wanted additional data as well.
Yeah, we can put that together. Sure.
As difficult as it is to maintain our roads and find money for them today, we
Mhm.
don't need 500-foot cul-de-sacs everywhere to maintain when we end up with the same result. Right.
Especially if it's for one.
If it's one lot and, yeah.
Yeah, if there's not a lot of zone changes on this one, and it could have been reasonably expected there would be another house there, then I have less of a concern. But if you come back and say it's 40 zone changes we're gonna be dealing, it might be different.
Just to clarify on that, though, if the general plan, like if the zone change would follow the general plan,
Then it's
Correct.
different issue.
that's
right.
different
Yes,
issue. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so that's easy.
Yeah. Okay, everybody agree with that? That fine?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
good.
I like that.
All right, let's move to administrative reports. Chief? You guys are so nice to stay. No one ever stays. This is awesome.
Wow, they know John's got a big,
Prepare, keep sitting down, this is gonna be intense stuff real quick. First of all, just want to say publicly condolences to Chief Glasgow. His father passed away, you guys seen that. He's gonna head down to, in true Glasgow form, we had a crash down on the highway about an hour after he found out, and there he is down there, out there directing traffic for us. So just want to say we're thinking of him, and he's gonna head down there Friday and deal with that. How close is Logan to me? I just don't want him too close when I tell you this part. You guys
Can't
seen
get
in
out
the
from
email
under the
that
table. He's good.
we reached over and plucked Zach Larson out of Parks and Rec and put him in the police department. He starts the academy in a couple weeks. He's gonna take some vacation right now because he's maxed out on that before he starts the police academy. So we're super
deep
excited
breaths.
about that.
Deep breaths.
I can feel
I think we need to instigate a city ordinance that says if one department poaches another department, they have to take the whole department out to lunch.
that's
At
fair.
minimum.
That's fair.
Logan's actually hiring Phil Bringhurst as his new.
Oh, dear. And Mike McCoy.
That's negative on that. I just want to be clear, that is not happening. We're pretty excited about that. Zach will do a great job for us. Plus, he knows the town like the
I'm
back of
glad we
his
get to
hand.
keep Zach in Mapleton.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. He's awesome. And I'll tell you, I can't speak for him, but I know he was conflicted because, he's got a good relationship going over here. Same topic as I brought up last time is speed. Ironically, I think we're warming up and the cars are coming out, 3 speed complaints today. The reason I bring it up is I would like you guys, if possible, if somebody complains to you about a speed on the roadway, if you can either send them my way or get the information. I want to do those speed data surveys on every road that somebody complains on. I don't want one to fall through the cracks. So if you get one of those, send them my way. The grants that I referenced, the 2 signs for the speed limit signs, they're here. I talked to Roundy this afternoon, and he's going to work on those this week. And then the grant was approved for the speed trailer, so we'll get that out too. So anyway, those are coming. So
Great.
that's it.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. You're hoping for something more intense.
There was no arrest story
No,
or anything in
luckily,
there.
there was no shootings, no arrests. I mean. Yeah,
Come,
well, maybe
come
there's
back
some
another
arrests.
time, we'll be talking about roosters.
That's
There you
right.
go. Yeah.
There we go. Good. Okay, Logan. It's a-
It is true, he did poach him. I'm fine, public record, he finally admitted that, so I'm grateful for that. No, he'll do a great job. So, we did open that position and we are doing interviews this week, and so we're hopeful to find a replacement and get them, or before we get into the busy season, that's kind of our plan. So we have some really good applicants, and so we're hopeful to find somebody to fill some big shoes, so. Then a couple other things, just a couple dates to remind you. So we had passed the Arbor Day. I just want to invite everybody out. It's on April 26th. It's a Friday, and we'll do it at Maple Grove Park. And we'll have the local Maple Ridge Elementary will bring some kids over to watch us plant a couple trees. And then we'll talk about the importance of trees. And so just invite everybody to that. And then our opening day parade will be on May 11th. I don't want to give away too many fun things, but we've got some really fun things planned for this year to hopefully continue to elevate that and make that a fun tradition for the community. So put that on your calendars. It'll be one you don't want to miss. And then Pioneer Days, we're in full swing. We've got the committee rolling. We've got good traction. There'll be a couple new things added this year, so we're excited for that. And everything's tracking and we're on pace, so we're excited for that. And then just finished up our basketball season. It was a great season. Had a lot of really good feedback. We just had our, kind of our debrief meeting with our other cities that we play with, and our teams were very well behaved, and we're really grateful for that because it seemed like some of the other ones weren't. So we're grateful that we had some good kids and good coaches that were preaching the sportsmanship.
Do you feel like that's been effective then?
It
That
has,
you've been
yeah,
doing?
yeah,
Great.
it's been a really good, well-received, and.
Is this the first season
Yeah,
you've done it?
first, yeah,
Okay.
first official sport, so,
Sport.
Just tell me we beat Springville every single time.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I want to know.
as far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
As far as you know.
And then we're starting right up into spring soccer. I'm happy to report this year, we're about 30% more kids than what we were last year. So just when we think we couldn't find any more space, we somehow find more space. So
And
it's really good.
backyards.
Yeah, we're
Large
almost there.
backyard, some of these
Yeah.
lots, right?
Yeah, right there.
So it's really good. We're grateful all this new growth is bringing the kids out to our program. So, and then we'll have our adult volleyball and co-ed volleyball that starts in the next month too. So that's all I
Great.
got.
Thanks, Logan. Doing a good job with all those programs. Thank you. It's awesome. Okay, Sean?
Just one quick one. MAG sent us over today. They have a trail counter on the boardwalk down on the north side of town on the trail. And so each year they send us trail counts. They had almost 60,000 trips on that trip counter on the trail. So people love the trail, and it's getting used, and
So we'll keep it?
so we'll keep it, yeah.
What was the timeline?
Keep it another year.
What was the timeline on that? 60,000 in how long?
1 year.
In
12 months.
2023?
Yep.
Okay, wow.
Do you remember last year's?
Was like, what was it, a few hundred less?
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty close.
Okay.
So that's it.
Great, excellent. Rob?
Well, I'll do the bad one first. Speaking of the trail, there's developments that are going on that are going to be bringing across utilities and roadways. There's going to be multiple this year. In fact, we're going to have a closure kind of on the middle I guess I'd call it middle section, south of 1600 South next week. So just be aware that that's going to happen. We'll keep it open as much as we can, but like I said, we've got both roadways and utilities going across there where there are going to be closures sometimes. But
Rob, how are you doing with communication with Madison on her putting, because I'm getting texts personally about this, and, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they obviously aren't aware until they get there and see it. So I want to make sure that Madison's sending plenty of stuff out in advance so people, because those people that walk on the trail every day, they own that trail. I mean, that's their baby. So when we're messing with it, they're upset. So we just want to make sure we've done everything we possibly can to notify them in advance. And I know you're dealing with contractors, and that's one other thing, but we just need to make sure that there's plenty of notification.
yeah, similar to when we have road closures because of utility work, we have been sending out, putting stuff on social media before the trail is closed. We can talk about, I don't know if there's, I'll get with Corey and see if there's some additional way we could
Okay.
put out more
Be great.
information. But-
A lot of the walkers aren't going to see social media. Can we just throw up some of the A-frames and put a notice on it? Because they'll be habitual users. That'd be
Yeah.
a real
really good
easy
idea.
way
Yeah, I was
to.
gonna say that too.
We could talk to the contractors, yeah, about putting them up early to show, putting it off to the
No, it's
side saying
coming,
it will
yeah.
be closed
That'd
at
be
this point. Okay.
Be great.
How far south are we talking?
So it's kind of right in the middle of the 1600 South to
Preserve area.
Yeah, Main Street. So it's in the preserve. It's kind of right in
Heavy.
the middle, and there's no way to get off of it.
Well, we have that
So-
spot, and then you got the spout down south at 2400 that's down there.
Yeah, so we've cleaned that up now, so that amount of dirt that the contractor was using to be able to cross it without busting up the trail, we've taken it out for now. They're waiting on in all these crossings. The biggest factor in terms of when they can start is there's a permit that has to go through the Central Utah and the Bureau. It's okay in terms of being quick, in terms of getting it through the Central Utah, then it goes to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, and it's we get it when we get it, right? There's no feedback as to when. It's the federal government. Whenever we get it is when we get it. So
So that just got cleaned up last day.
yeah,
or two, so.
yeah, we got that cleaned out this morning and sent our street sweeper to go clean up the trail too.
We'll do
so.
the same thing. Once they've got to come back and do that again, we'll do some social media and name-frame signs down there.
Yep. But yeah, I'll get with Corey and Madison and see what else, yeah, the sign next to it will be good, and then we can talk through if there's additional or updates and stuff as things go along that we can be sending out there. Spring Road development is going along really well. The walls are up on the chlorination building, and we are working on the Service-Berry Springs, which is the lower one that's close by the campground. And we have water flowing. There's still a lot more that needs to be done to get it, you know, into the basins and down to the chlorinator, but we found water, which is good.
Great.
That's good.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Did you give the notice to proceed on the Maple Canyon project? Are we going yet? What's their,
Yeah, so that is the Maple Canyon?
yeah,
Yeah, that's.
oh, that's what you were just referring
Yeah.
to, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, we've been working on that for.
Perfect.
For a couple months now.
A couple weeks, yeah, okay.
Is there any update on when the canyon will be back open, or, I know it's not all your decision, of course, but,
I want to say April 11th. That's the date. The road won't be put back together. At that point, we won't have paving weather to do it, but it'll be drivable. The agreement with the Forest Service is that I think it is April 11th is the date, somewhere around there, that we have to have it back open. And then they're giving us another date in either it's end of June or beginning of July that we've got to go and pave. That's our basically week to go and pave it, but it's got to be open besides that. But we will be doing a lot of work further up the canyon. So there'll be times I'd like to say we'll keep the trail open up above. The water lines that we're replacing up to those springs are right down the middle of the trail, and there's not a lot of room to get around. So it will be impacting. We're trying to get it done in 1 year so that it'll be a lot of impacts, but it'll be 1 year's worth of impact.
thanks.
We'll want to make sure and notice for stuff like that as well, right? Maybe we just do a broadcast notice, hey, there's construction still going on up at Maple Canyon, there's gonna be a lot of interruptions throughout the season, just beware.
Yeah, so we put out, before we started the project, we put out a kind of a summary into the newsletter that went out with the utilities, and we'll, as we get kind of further along, we'll do updates in the newsletter.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
When it's on the trail, can hikers go around that, or is it not recommended for them to?
Yes, it is not recommended.
Right.
Are hikers gonna go around it? I am
Okay.
sure they will. But there's parts there that it's really tight, that the equipment going in there is gonna take the entire intended walking area. So can people get around? I guess it depends on how good of hikers they are.
For all intents and purposes, though, during those times, the trail will be technically closed, so people shouldn't be on it, especially for safety reasons around that equipment and things like that.
Yeah, we'll keep information up to date. If there's parts, if we're up in an area and we're just working on the springs, then we'll keep it open. If it's we're laying pipe down the middle of the trail,
Yeah.
there's really not gonna be a way to get around.
That's one way to get all the motorbikers off the trail, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so we'll try to keep on social media and in newsletters and everything, we'll try to keep everybody up to date.
And we'll help spread the word too.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, great, thanks, Rob.
Sure,
All right. Reed, did you have any updates for us that you wanted to give us?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
The seniors seem to be doing just fine. They're increasing the gym use by new members, and they're also having more people come to eat at their meals, so the numbers seem to be increasing. At this transfer station, things seem to be moving along quite well. We do have the power on now. We also have natural gas hooked to it. We're all testing the electrical systems. Still lots to do, but we're moving ahead quite well, and the open house ribbon cutting is planned for April 25th, Thursday, but the time is moved from 12 to 2 o'clock. We had to do that for the Provo mayor and councilman. They had a commitment already at noon, so. But we plan to open up at noon with the car show, so. Anyway, details you probably didn't know about, but anyway, things are going ahead okay. Any questions for me?
Will you let them know the Mapleton mayor has a conflict at 2 and need to move it to 4? You think they'll care about us? Just kidding, just kidding. Of course
Oh,
we'll
that's
move it.
okay. We understand.
Of course,
They're
we'll
all
move
the
it
big
for
boys,
Provo.
though, I guess, but everybody's a partner.
That's right. Okay, thanks, Reed, appreciate it. Jessica?
The legislative session is over, so not crying about that. My summary for cities and our ability to have autonomy and government closest to the people would be, it could have been worse. So that's how I would categorize how we fared this year. Could have been worse. There are a few things I'm not a huge fan of that, again, Sean and Corey are gonna deal with probably the most of it, but we'll see that in how we operate. Could have been 8 units per acre for the entire state, so could have been worse. One thing, learning experience though I had this session is because his Senate district is so broad, we really need to spend more time with Senator Hinkins advocating for our interests. He was involved with some bills as the sponsor related to mining and gravel pits that we would not be fans of, and I expressed that. But considering where he comes from, coal country, it's really different. And we're way on this far boundary, and so we did meet with him, but I don't feel like we really were as clear. And now that I understand the diversity of bills he runs, I think we need to connect better. We're fortunate to have Representative White. He does a great job for us, especially navigating complex housing issues. So I appreciate his connection to us and to the league. He's a great collaborator up there. Just a reminder, the league's mid-year conference is April 17th through 19th in St. George. Has anybody signed up already besides me? Darren will be there? Corey? Oh, it's a party. Okay, awesome. We'll look forward to it.
We're gonna have to go golfing.
I'm gonna verify you guys show up to the meetings.
I'm obligated. It's all right. Actually, it's fun. That's it.
Great, thanks, Jessica. All right, Casey.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Leslie?
Nope, don't have anything.
All right, Darren.
Just a couple things. It's just an echo on Councilmember Egbert's report on the legislature. I was in attendance to almost all the LPC meetings during the legislature, so I got way heavily involved, way more than I've ever been in the past, and learned a ton. Had a lot of fun, and yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking watching all those bills get really close to getting passed, but fascinating to see the league and all the people involved go to bat for us as cities, and it's just astounding how ignorant I've been in the past to these things that have been going on at the Hill and could potentially have very negative effects on us. So it's really cool, fascinating to be involved. So yeah, could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
For sure.
Great.
One more item, the city community cleanup, or the community cleanup is underway. It's planned for the 20th of April. We've met with Michelle and her team, and they had a kickoff meeting on Sunday night. Everything went well. Everything should basically be operation as normal this year, with the addition of a couple things that the city's going to support for that organization, in addition to we've done in the past. But taking it year by year, and right now the city's agreed to support the spring cleanup each year, but not necessarily the fall one anymore. So, but put that on your calendar. 20th that morning is going to be the citywide community.
FYI on that, as much as I know Casey and I would love to participate in that, there is a convention that day. The county is that day,
yes.
so that might draw some people away.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't change the
that's how I
event,
got
but-
out of being a delegate last night. Was I says I'm not going to be here on the 20th. I'm sorry.
See, I didn't have it on my calendar.
Logan, do we have any, Michelle's clear with your involvement and all that? You're comfortable with all that? Yeah. Okay. Excellent, thank you.
I'd say thanks for Darren and Casey's efforts in helping with that. We met with Michelle a couple times. Rob's going to help a little bit with some topics with some addressing on curbs in some of the areas. And then we got some fire hydrants, public safety is going to help with where they can do some project. And then Logan's got the same projects as well for us, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's been a really awesome team effort to get that clarified, and is what, not just for the community cleanup, but for several other groups that are using city facilities.
Yeah, we met with Mapleton Corral last Thursday night, had a good visit with them, and
Good.
better understanding what they do, and
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for offering to do that.
Fire tomorrow.
That committee's
yes,
going
Fire
really well.
Association tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, good luck. That'll be a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your efforts on that. Camille? Pioneer Days, everything seems to be going fine. Everything's ready. We're gonna try and do at least what we did with fireworks last year. It may not be making it bigger, but it will be at least that. So
You're
hopefully
gonna let
that's
the kiddie
sufficient.
soccer
Yeah,
league beat the fireworks? They've increased by 30%.
that's it.
Game on?
You're going down, Logan. Yeah, no, I think as much as I want to go bigger and whatever, I think we've met our match there. I think we stick with what we got.
If we can just make sure there's not like a second, third, and fourth fireworks show as well, like after the real one has ended.
morning.
There already is.
Yeah, we're gonna try and eliminate the after shows, but which was disappointing because there was one that was supposed to be at the right time and it didn't. So anyway, should be good. Corey, what do you got?
Two things for you. April schedule, so we recognize that generally we're meeting on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. With April, that first week is spring break, so we've canceled that meeting. And then, as mentioned earlier, the third week is the Utah League's conference. So we scheduled our city council meeting for Wednesday, April the 10th, if that will work for you. We'd also would like to propose the idea of doing a retreat that morning from approximately 8:30 to noon, similar like we've done in the past. So I'll send out some information to you in the next couple of days as far as the date and time of that, as well as some of the items that we'd like to discuss. So kind of put that on your calendar. Any worries with Wednesday, April 10th at this point? Okay. So we'd have a retreat in the morning and then city council that night at 6 o'clock. So one meeting in April. And then the last one for you, thanks to Camille's efforts, she went out and got a bid on some modifications that we could do to the council chambers, maybe just kind of helping you as you're hearing presentations and looking at screens, et cetera. So Camille, you hit on that a little bit as far as, I'll let you use my mic, looks like yours is down. So the idea is, before we do anything, though, we want to hear from you, and you might look at this to say it's not worth the money, and we're good with what we've got. Obviously, you got new chairs, finally, after 20 years of the other ones, so I'll let you use this one, Mike.
Okay. So one of the things that they proposed was a new podium here, and within that, there would be a screen where if somebody is presenting here, that they would be able to mark up their screen and it would go up on here. And then they also would be able to present from there there would be a wireless Bluetooth, so you could hook up for wherever you were. Also, they are proposing screens in front of each of you, which would be that you could see this better, and if you needed to mark it up, it would go up on the screen, or it just would kind of replace this so you could see it better. Sometimes that's quite small, but it would be here. What else was there, Corey?
Kind of two big ones. We'll send you the cost. Any other suggestions, or is that something you really?
Oh, a new laser projector where you could see it better. It would project better.
Is this stuff you're interested in? We looked at a few other.
I could get my chair to Camille and we get a massage chair for her
There you go.
while we're doing that.
I really like those ideas. I was gonna propose a bigger TV up there so that we could see it a little bit better, but individual screens would actually be better than, maybe we could just take that one down.
I think screens are great. I think for me, it comes down to the overall cost. My personal feeling is that screen or a bigger screen with the ability to, so often what's projected up here or being laser pointed at here, I'm looking here. That's my only preference. Whatever it is, put it in front of us.
Did we issue this council members iPads or anything?
No.
We
didn't,
used to have iPads, and then everybody would just kind of bring their own, and some have a Mac, some have just a regular PC, some,
That's
so
an
they were
option.
different,
We've
but
got iPads,
we could do
laptops.
that
Is
again.
that something?
Well, have them get us the pricing and we can,
Yeah, I think we should be fiscally responsible, but making sure that it makes the meeting a little bit more user-friendly for everybody, I think is worth looking into for sure.
Okay, we'll put together some options and those costs, and then we can discuss that more.
I think what we got works great, but if it makes sense, we'll look at it.
Okay. That's all I have.
Great, thanks Corey, thank you Camille. All right, that being everything, we will look for a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilman Garrett. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Garrett, yes.
Aye,
Thank you, Reed.
thank you.